Let's dive into a major shakeup happening at the EPA, one led by the Trump administration in 2025. This move could change America's approach to climate change overnight. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, has just proposed rolling back a whole suite of climate regulations, many of which date back to the Obama era. These rules were originally put in place during the Obama administration. The Trump team says these rules are expensive and burdensome, especially for the coal, oil, and gas power plants that keep the lights on across the country. According to the EPA, repealing these regulations could save about $1.2 billion over a decade. That's roughly $120 million a year. But the real headline grabber? The EPA now claims that vehicle emissions regulations, built on what's called the endangerment finding, could cost more than $1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. If these rules are scrapped, the EPA says it could lift what amounts to $1 trillion in hidden taxes from American businesses and families. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is calling this the greatest and most consequential day of deregulation in U.S. history under President Trump. 31 major rules could be rolled back, rules that, for years, have shaped how industry and transportation tackle greenhouse gases. But as with all things in Washington, it's not that simple. Critics, including Yale professor Dan Esty, are calling out those trillion-dollar figures as fictional numbers picked out of thin air, with no real connection to what's actually happening on the ground. And here's something else. While the EPA says these regulations are costly, the Obama administration's own analysis once argued the exact opposite. They claim the benefits, things like avoided hospital visits and fewer premature deaths, would actually outweigh the costs by another $1 trillion by 2055. Let's put that in perspective. Health researchers estimate that these climate rules could prevent about 30,000 deaths and save Americans $275 billion each year. That's not pocket change. Now, if these rollbacks go through, the EPA would be undoing regulations that cover everything from power plants to cars and trucks. We're talking about emissions standards that touch almost every part of American life, from the gas you put in your car to the energy that powers your home. So, what does all this mean for families, businesses, and the climate? Supporters of the rollback say lower costs for energy and vehicles will help struggling Americans and boost the economy. But opponents warn we could see more pollution, higher health costs, and a step back in the fight against climate change. The debate is far from over, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Will America double down on climate action or hit the brakes on environmental regulation? Whatever happens next, I'll be here to break it down for you. If you want to keep up with the latest on climate policy and what it means for your life, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.